controversial new treatment that may hold promise, but at a price.
It does appear to reverse the aging process.
Dr. Jesse Karmazin is talking about transfusions with the young blood from teenagers, and he says it just may turn back the hands of time.
A quote from the Daily Beast. For conspiracy theorists, Adrenochrome represents a mystical psychedelic favored by the global elite for drug-crazed satanic rites, derived from torturing children to harvest their oxidized hormonal fear. Just some bookkeeping. Adrenaline is produced in the medulla in the adrenal glands as well as some central nervous system's neurons. Within a couple of minutes during stressful situations, adrenaline is quickly released into the blood, sending impulses to organs to create a specific response. Adrenochrome is a compound produced when adrenaline is oxidized. Its main medical use is to slow blood loss by promoting clotting in open wounds. In addition to this, it is also used as an inhibitor of COMT, which is a protein-coding gene. Diseases associated with COMT include schizophrenia and panic disorder 1. With these definitions out of the way, let's get into the theory. The adrenochrome harvesting theory puts forth that the elites of our nations are extracting these compounds from the bodies of young children in creepy blood rituals. Now, what would the purpose of these rituals be? Is it possible that this is an attempt to reverse the effects of aging or, going even further, to live forever? While this specific compound does not extend or revitalize older tissues and cells, there is a possibility of using young animals as a method for older creatures to live longer. It was recently found that there's an anti-aging effect in old mice when spinal fluid from young mice are injected into them. Scientists found that there was a boost in cognition and memory of the older mice. Going further, the rise of companies like Ambrosia indicates the desire of consumers to delay or reverse aging.
That blood is going to patients over 35 as part of a clinical trial called Ambrosia, where subjects paid $8,000 to get the rich growth factors found in the platelets in blood's plasma.
There's pretty much people from most states, people from overseas, from Europe and Australia.
There have not been any published results, but the intriguing concept still found its way into pop culture.
It's my transfusion associate.
Dr. Karmazin says patients who have had it say they feel amazing, and he has seen evidence of reversing the aging process in rats.
Their brains are younger, hearts, their hair, if it was gray, just turns dark again.
There has also been encouraging Alzheimer's research using young blood at Stanford.
We found that it was safe and feasible to administer infusions of young plasma weekly.
Dr. Sharon Shaw is a researcher who says they have seen evidence of improvement in functional ability.
It's all very exciting that there can be components in blood that could be healing.
Ambrosia offers to infuse people with young donor blood in an attempt to counter the aging process. This process is in its early stages, and Ambrosia representatives have stated that they saw some interesting things as a result of these transfusions. However, returning back to adrenochrome, the compound can be synthesized without extraction from a living person. But theorists believe the compound is part of a blood ritual that the elites, or more specifically, the Hollywood elites, conduct with children they trafficked. While the extent to which human trafficking, and more specifically child trafficking in Hollywood, is unknown, to say that crimes like trafficking and abuse does not happen would be false. Epstein and Weinstein would first come to mind, but these are just two men. But behind them is so much more.
The United States has been rocked by the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal. In a nutshell, Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted pedophile who had connections to celebrities and even presidents. Last year, he had been found dead in his prison cell in very mysterious circumstances. And this is not a case of a simple crime story. Several high-profile names are being dragged into this scandal. Former US President Bill Clinton, too, has been dragged into the long list by none other than the current President of the United States, Donald Trump. Interestingly, Donald Trump himself has been linked to Jeffrey Epstein on more than one occasion. Take a look at this report.
Billionaire financer, networker, convicted sex offender, found dead in prison in an apparent case of suicide. 66-year-old Jeffrey Epstein led the high life till he was put in jail on new sex trafficking charges. Epstein was known for socializing with politicians and royalty. His friends included Donald Trump. In this video dating back to 1992, Epstein and Trump are seen hanging out during a Mar-a-Lago party. His other high-profile friends included, as per court papers, Britain's Prince Andrew. He famously told the New York Magazine once, and I quote, "I invest in people, be it politics or science." And one of the most powerful politicians he was friends with was former US President Bill Clinton. Reports say Epstein flew the former president and actor Kevin Spacey in the early 2000s to Africa for an AIDS awareness tour.
Now, turning to other news, a court in Los Angeles has sentenced Harvey Weinstein to 16 more years in prison for raping and sexually assaulting a woman in 2013. The 70-year-old is already serving a long sentence for a separate conviction. Sofia Betitza has the story.
He was the legendary film producer at the top of his game, with the world at his feet. But Harvey Weinstein became the first major figure taken down by the Me Too movement and was sent to jail. And on Thursday, another conviction for attacking an actress in a hotel room in Beverly Hills during a film festival in February 2013. In court, the victim recounted her trauma. "Before that night, I was a very happy and confident woman," she said. "Everything changed after the defendant brutally assaulted me." Harvey Weinstein is already serving a 23-year prison sentence for a separate conviction in New York for rape and sexual assault. More than 80 people have made rape and misconduct claims about him, dating back to the 1970s. But he maintains that he is innocent and that all of his sexual encounters were consensual. He called his accuser an actress with the ability to turn on her tears. "Please don't sentence me to life in prison," he told the court. "I don't deserve it."
Elijah Wood's shocking allegations against the entertainment industry. In a new interview with the Sunday Times, the former child star alleges that pedophilia has been a real issue in Hollywood. He tells the publication, quote, "There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. What bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. That's the tragedy of attempting to reveal what is happening to innocent people. They can be squashed, but their lives have been irreparably damaged." The 35-year-old adds, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey."
I can get a good career doing this. It's going to be good.
Wood says he was not a victim of abuse because his mother Deborah protected him and he avoided those kinds of situations. He goes on to allege that even as an adult in the industry, he has been, quote, "led down dark paths to realize that these things probably are still happening."
Searching online in more recent years, you would be able to find cases of strange sex cults and other groups of Hollywood people that have links to human trafficking. One such case is the NXVIM case, NXVIM. NXVIM is a sex cult founded by Keith Raniere that involves Hollywood actresses, business executives, and other public figures. This quote is from Wikipedia. Based in Clifton Park, New York, a suburb of Saratoga County, NXVIM purported to be a multi-level marketing company that offered personal and professional development seminars through its executive success programs of large group awareness training. The company was a recruiting platform for a secret society called DOS, in which women were branded and forced into sexual slavery.
There's a secret organization in Nixium. They sign a lifetime vow of obedience, and they're branding girls.
And they're trying to recruit other women to do this.
Actor Isaac Cappy, who played a character in the superhero film Thor, posted a series of explosive allegations online in August of 2018. Cappy said in his online rant, "A lot of showbiz parents will knowingly give their kids to be abused because they'll be like, oh, we'll get your kids roles and money. And they take the money and then they just sell their kids. People sell their kids. They sell their kids for money. It's very fucked up. If I'm lying, sue me, because these are pretty damning allegations that I'm making. These are pretty damning allegations, so if I'm lying, sue me." 9 months after he made the video, police say Cappy committed suicide by forcing himself off a bridge in Arizona onto an interstate. Independent film producer John Paul Rice told me that child abuse in Hollywood is also very real. Rice said he got a rude awakening as a young man getting his start. Rice says, "There was a legitimate film that I'd been asked to audition for by a director, and when I told my manager that, his immediate response is, 'Oh, he wants to F you,' like no hesitation whatsoever. It was expected, and it was, you know, that this is the world." Former child actor Corey Feldman recently spoke out saying he was preyed on by men in the industry, and he said his friend Corey Haim was raped on a movie set at age 11. Haim died in 2010 after years of drug addiction. Rice says people aren't willing to speak out about Hollywood's elephant in the room because, for some, child exploitation and abuse have become part of doing business there. He says even many victims and innocent observers are reluctant to speak out. Their entire livelihoods is tied to making a product for the industry that does this to children, says Rice. As a summarization so far, there is scientific evidence and testing that using younger animals' blood or spinal fluids can rejuvenate an older subject. In addition, there appears to be groups of human trafficking and large scales of abuse happening where the weak and powerful meet. But why adrenochrome? In the theory's context, I do not believe that it is specifically the drug that's the focal point. I think it's the rituals that are key. First and foremost, we need to address one topic, and that is blood libel. Blood libel is an anti-Semitic trope which falsely accuses Jews of murdering Christians in order to use their blood in the performance of religious rituals. This is not what I believe the theory is about. In fact, it doesn't seem to involve any religion, no Jewish people or Christians. If we were to look at the strangeness of Bohemian Grove, it might give us some clues to what is going on. In June and July, some of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the country flocked to the Redwood Grove in Sonoma County, California. They are all members of the Bohemian Club, a private all-male club that's counted U.S. presidents, military officials, artists, and business leaders as members. So what do these men of prestige and power do at this 2,700-acre campground? Well, it's strange and creepy to say the least. The cremation of care, as described by Wikipedia, was originally set up within the plot of the serious hijinks dramatic performance on the first weekend of the summer encampment, after which the spirit of care, slain by the Jinx hero, was solemnly cremated. The ceremony served as a catharsis for pent-up high spirits and to present symbolically the salvation of the trees by the club. This ceremony is the one that Alex Jones captured on video on July 15, 2000, that was the main piece in his documentary Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove.
They're in with these bankers and former presidents, and they're dressed like druids.
Yes.
And some guy brings over something that it's an effigy that's supposed to be a body, a wrapped up effigy. It's also a bunch of sticks in a blanket, but it's like shaped like a body.
Yeah.
And then they drop it on the fire, and they're all worshiping an owl god.
So how does this relate to this theory? Well, dear viewer, I believe that if the blood rituals are occurring, it is not for some tangible thing like adrenochrome in the blood. I think it would be more for the spiritual. Looking at the music industry, media, and hell, even the clothing industry, it seems that there's a weird satanic belief being pushed from these elites. In recent years, singers and artists have had fun with demonic imagery in their performances and videos. For the 2023 Grammys, Sam Smith went to stage and performed his song Unholy, dressed as a red demon with horns. In Doja Cat's music video for her song Demons, she is dressed as a demon. Now, this is not entirely fair to blame the newer gen singers and artists solely for this demonic imagery, as there's always been this kind of thing in the music industry. Just off the top of my head, I can think of Ozzy's act of biting off the head of the bat. And while the act in and of itself is not demonic, artists love to shock their audiences from time to time, so demonic topics are not a new concept. Now let's be honest, modern media like CNN, The Guardian, and all the others like to be a little inflammatory at times, especially on the internet, so that they get their well-deserved clicks on their news articles. It's simple and it definitely works, so it should not be surprising with the content that they push. Now, it's a little difficult to find more evidence of online articles. Sifting through everything, I'm not going to fine-tooth comb this, so maybe this is a little bit of a flimsy case. However, I do remember seeing more of this Satanism being pushed from the news channel when I used to watch it with the parents when I was younger. Maybe let's just move on. Hey guys, if you've made it this far in the video, then I just want to say thanks. This longer form content takes a while to do, so I do appreciate you guys staying this long. I'd like to ask you, the viewer, to subscribe to my channel and my TikTok as well. If this subject matter interests you, then definitely keep an eye out on future uploads by ringing the bell and liking the video. It really will help this channel grow. Now, back to it. Our last piece to this puzzle is the debacle of the Balenciaga incident. In November 2022, an ad campaign produced by Balenciaga, a clothing company, featured children holding stuffed teddy bears in bondage harnesses and costumes, which landed the company in hot water. The images were a huge talking point on Twitter, and the hashtag #CancelBalenciaga started to trend. Accusations were thrown at the company and their creative director, Denma, of condoning child and child exploitation. Later that month, they did another ad that was separate, and they could not have dog whistled harder. The ad was in collaboration with Adidas and featured a bag that appeared to be on top of a document from the Supreme Court case United States v. Williams, a ruling that upheld the PROTECT Act, which increased federal protection against child. Much like Hollywood and their questionable antics of the weak or powerless, the clothing industry may take advantage of those who are young and naive. In time, we may see many more of these kinds of controversies out in the wild. From young blood transfers for older clients to Satanism being pushed in the media, there appears to be more going on than what is just surface level. The Epstein list is still out there and may never be released. Sex cults and human trafficking still lurk in the shadows and exist on the dark corners of the web. Children are still being exploited in film and the various art industries and will not stop. Like whack-a-mole, when one of these sleaze bags are taken out, another will replace them. But what of this adrenochrome conspiracy theory? Have we proven any of it to be true? No, I don't believe so. There are threads that thinly link the theory concepts together, but nothing concrete. It's really up to you on what you want to believe, and I must urge anyone watching this video to do your own research on these topics, or you may be labeled a conspiracy theorist. I want to thank you guys all for getting to this point at the end of the video. I really do appreciate you guys watching all the way through. If there's any of the topics that were talked here in this video today that you guys want me to discuss further, let me know in the comments below. If there's even other topics that you want me to discuss in relative to this conspiracy theory, also let me know. I do find this stuff interesting. Do I believe it? Not entirely. This video was made for entertainment purposes, and I don't want to promote that any of this is actually like 100% true. This is just for entertainment, and please don't bother these people. Don't harass anyone. If something's happening that's illegal, let the authorities do their job. Thank you all once again, and have a good day.